Hello, sir. My name is Chris Lanning, and this is Lab Report 3 for Biology 251. As you can see, I have nothing out to assist outside of my specimen list. So, moving into the sheet part, right away we can go into it. This is the pulmonary trunk area right here. Looking at it from this angle, the apex is down here next to my pinky, so right this region. Base would be back here. This is the left ventricle and the left auricle. This is the right ventricle and the right auricle. The pericardium is the sac that it would sit in, and you can see a difference in an overview sac, and then the inside would be the pericardium, or the pericardium is the sac, and the epicardium is right here. You can see a difference in the tissue. Alright, let's move it along. We're opening it up. If you look at the tissue sample right here, you can see this as well, epicardium, myocardium, and then you can see the difference between the myocardium to the endocardium right there. Okay. Right here, this is the right atrium in here. You can see it here, but you can see it here as well, where my thumb is. So this is the right atrium. The inferior vena cava comes in right there, and the superior vena cava comes in right there. So inferior, superior comes in up this way. The tricuspid valve is this layer of valve right here that's been destroyed. The semilunar valve is right here, so right there, and blood would then follow this path right into the pulmonary trunk and on its way to the lungs. Okay, looking at the left ventricle. Oh, that was the right ventricle as well. You can see all that right in here. This is the right ventricle right here. Okay, left ventricle. This is this cavity right in here. This would be the left atrium right here. So left ventricle cavity, left atrium. This would be the bicuspid valve, the mitral valve. This is the semilunar valve for the aorta, and then that would go into the aorta, which is this section right here, which would feed down in. And you can see it's kind of been cut, but you can get the see where it goes all the way up. Alright, moving on to the fetal pig, we've got the heart and then the pericardium, which is in bad shape, but you can kind of see it. So heart, pericardium that would go around the heart. Here's the lungs, so 1 lobe, 2 lobe, 3 lobe. The other lung is over here, 1, 2, and 3. With that, there's the bronchus right there. This is the hilum. You can see where I'm palpating the bronchus to get fluid to come out. And that's the alveolar, or the visceral pleura, I'm sorry, visceral pleura. You can really see it right there. Alright. Let's see, missed out on the diaphragm is right here. And let's get into the jugulars. This is the right jugular right here, the right, and this is the internal jugular, the external jugular. This is the right, the right carotid artery right here, the pink one. And that is the right lymphatic duct. Here is the larynx. The thymus would be covering the larynx, but it's been cut and exposed and kind of destroyed now. This would be the right jugular vein. And moving down into the heart again, we've got the superior vena cava right there, and the inferior vena cava is this vein right here. You can see the aorta is right here. So that's the pulmonary trunk right there, and the aorta is right there. Brachiocephalic artery is this artery right in here. So it's right under here. And this is the right subclavian artery, which is that pink artery right there. Pink artery right there. The right subclavian vein is the blue vein right there. We already talked about the right lymphatic duct. This is the cisterna civilia right there where you see my finger wiggling. And this would be the thoracic duct right there. Moving on up. We've already talked about the subclavian vein. The lymph nodes would be up here for the cervical, over here for the axillary, and down here for the inguinal region. The thymus is right here. We already talked about that. And the spleen is right here in my hand, attached below the stomach. We already talked about the larynx and the trachea, and we went over the lungs and the diaphragm. So that should cover it. Thanks, sir.